Welcome.
It's a new month and a new video, but is there really a computer program held on this postage stamp? Hello chip dippers, welcome to another Quick Bites, bite-sized recipes that are still good enough to eat, watch. Now today I'm celebrating and I want to thank you guys because we just hit a huge channel milestone. Yep, I mean 1,000, 5,000 subscribers, even 10,000 subscribers was incredible. Mind-blowing, in fact. But today we reached the number I've been waiting for. 64K. 64,000 subscribers, which means we're now in the same league as the best-selling home computer of all time. And it's this computer we're going to be talking about today, along with stamp collecting. Oh wait, don't switch off. Today I received this. These are the new retro video game stamps from Royal Mail, and they reminded me of something that I'd heard, a kind of old wives' tale from the 80s. More on that in a second, but these were a very kind donation from one of my patrons, David Cherryman, and it's incredible to see that they feature games that we've been discussing on the channel recently and playing. The first one there, of course, Elite, and so many other familiar faces. Wipeout, Worms, of course, which we did several episodes about, Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, and 4. Thank you, David. Those are awesome. I'll leave them there. However, more on that old wives' tale. You see, you might remember that back in the 80s, Royal Mail collaborated with Commodore as a marketing stunt and released a computer program held on a stamp. But the rumor goes that it started to quickly blow up people's machines, at least the CIA chip inside. And so it was withdrawn from circulation, making that stamp one of the rarest stamps that's available to modern collectors. I guess it's cool that retro is considered modern in the context of stamp collecting, at least. Now, obviously, I can't get hold of one of these super rare stamps, but I did, after weeks of searching, find this on eBay in Papua New Guinea, of all places. This is a postcard version of the stamp. It says on the back here, copyright Royal Mail 1984, and it talks about computer tomography. However, it's these coloured squares that are the interesting bit, and the story went like this. You'd use a light pen to read the differences in contrast and colour of these squares, and it would translate into a tiny amount of code for the Commodore 64, kind of like those computer games held in 3 lines of code. And the idea was to sell more stamps and more Commodores. Commodore. And I guess it's kind of like a modern day barcode. When I say modern day in retro terms again, because of course barcodes were invented in 1891, 1 year after the punch hole computer was invented. By the way, please read this important message on these punch holes. Thank you. And of course, barcodes were based on Morse code, invented by the Roman gladiator Morsius. Now, of course, there were over 100 light pens released over the Commodore 64's lifespan. I've got one here and it just connects to the joystick port. But what I can't really work out is how this is going to work without drivers. You're supposed to load it into BASIC, but the drivers for the light pen come with the software that's supplied with the light pen. In other words, the stamp is the software. So how do we load it without first loading it? Well, I found this forum post about just that, text entry with the joystick, which led me to this number pad for the Commodore 64. And look, it connects too to the joystick port, no drivers needed. And it turns out, and as the forum post explains, the joystick ports access the keyboard matrix of the C64 directly via the CIA chip. And that allows a possible 64 key combinations. Nice number. But then the warnings started to appear. Suddenly it was making sense why this stamp idea might have been withdrawn. We could blow up our CIA chip, or the joystick ports, or both. Now, if you do blow up your Commodore 64, you could use PCBWay to print a brand new Commodore 64 motherboard, like these ones by Arjan Versloot, because as we all know, PCB stands for Poor CIA's Blown. Doesn't it? Now, I've always known that plugging or unplugging a joystick while the machine is on is never a good idea, so don't try that at home. You could fry the CIA chip with static, or much worse. However, I have repaired a few C64s, so I'm willing to give this a try for science. Let's try it out. Go left to right or up and down? What do you think? I think this whole video might be a waste of time, and I knew this wouldn't work. Doesn't even make sense because the shape of this is not like obvious up and down lines. I wonder if we still need to just kind of put basic into some kind of receive mode. Okay, I've been Googling it on Yahoo and I found this Russian forum, and it says that for the stamp you're apparently meant to use the C64's built-in printer driver. As you may know, you can print directly from BASIC, no drivers needed. And what we're going to do is manipulate that command so that instead of outputting text, it inputs it. Makes a weird kind of sense, I guess. So normally we'd type open 3,4 to open a line of communications to the printer. So that's now open, 3 being the printer, and then we type cmd3, command 3, and that tells BASIC that it's now going to output anything that we type to the printer instead of to the screen. However, I don't have a printer attached, and that's not what we're doing. Instead, what we do apparently is type cmd minus 56321. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's the peak command for the joystick ports. For example, if you wanted to write a program to test the joystick ports in BASIC. So again, weird kind of sense. Okay, and it's accepted that. So I guess we are in receive mode. Let's try it out again. There's something appearing on the screen. I don't know what I'm doing here. What am I doing? There's a little code on the screen. So excited. Run. Syntax error. 1D, line 1. Guys, I think it's working. We've got a program of some kind. Let's run it. Whoa. Oh, wait. It's a snake game. What are the controls? This didn't come with any instructions. Usually ASD, ZX. Let's try those. It's the space bar. So the snake moves to the right unless you press space and then it moves left. So it's a one-key game. It's a one-key game. That is amazing. And it even gives you a little score at the end. I guess it's kind of like Flappy Bird. Flappy Snake. How is that possible? We got a basic program out of some Morse code. Well, looking at the code that we typed in, wait, it's completely changed. I know what was happening. So there is shortcode that you can use, like shorthand, essentially, when you're writing code. So like, instead of to print something to the screen, you can type a question mark. It does the same thing as print. You can also use the characters that we saw, the PETSCII characters, as shorthand for other code. So I think we can't get it back now without reading it in again with the light. Well, I can, oh shit. Well, I did say I would be up for the challenge in the name of science. Yeah, I actually thought we were okay. Well, ow, it's hot. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to wrap this up and get this out of here. I guess my next video will be a Commodore 64 repair. Also, coming up very soon, I think I've spotted a Commodore 64 in the John Wick movies. And this Commodore 64 has been keeping a garage working for 30 years. Incredible. Which is more than I can say for ours here. As for me, I'm going to wrap it up. And for this video, I'll just say happy 1st of April. Yeah. There is no such thing as a computer program held on a postage stamp. I hope you didn't mind a little bit of light-hearted relief though. But what is true is that Snake program's stored in 1 line of code. There's also a version stored in 3 lines of code, and it uses that shorthand method that I described. I'll put all the info in the description below so that you can try it out for yourself. Thanks for watching. Unsubscribe below. And cheerio.